Hey y'all, here we are on the Maiden Voyage, the first sea trial of our Pro Angler 12 360 XR. Now I'm not pedaling as hard as I can pedal, but I wouldn't sustain this all the way to the other island across the way. So we see the green mark on the ICW. Check for traffic coming from up coast. Check for traffic coming from down coast. Traffic coming from up coast is going to be over here by the red marks. My technique on the ICW is to clear both directions and then hurry up. Sprint between the red mark and the green mark. Summertime, you really have to sprint. This time of the year, not a lot of traffic. So, how does it handle? Hard over reversal of the rudder, and the boat tipped a little. Let a lot of speed because the rudder was sideways, but all in all it's pretty stable. I would say first impression, I like the overall handling and efficiency of the Outback over the PA-12, and probably long-time pro angler owners will probably tell you they prefer the 14. This is probably the slowest of the three boats, just my first take on it. Now, if we look at that island over there with its sandbar, in fact, we may be able to see a little ground coming up over there. When we look over here, there's a sandbar that's underwater that separates these two cutbank islands. So just from experience, I know that if I was in my Malibu pedal with the Old Town Drive, I wouldn't get across it unless it was absolute high tide. And I know from my Outback, the Mirage Drive will cross it, but I want to put myself at the deepest spot so I can make the biggest flutter kick. If we look down here, we've got maybe 6 inches to a foot more water than a full fin stroke takes. In fact, we look over here, we can see it's a lot shallower on the left. So I'm trying to stay in an area where I can use a full fin stroke and then transition it at one of the deeper portions. Still probably going to need to do a flutter kick, basically like that, where you hear the fin hitting the hull, where I'm basically measuring the hull with the little click and measuring the depth of the water with a full stroke. Once we cross this sandbar, we'll be clear of a lot of traffic. The ICW traffic won't be disturbing us. And along the back side of this island is a bank that is pretty cool to run when you're fishing. Right now, this time of the year, the water temperature is cold. You can see we've gotten shallow, so I'm going to a flutter kick, and I'm going to try to turn in, stay on in an area, basically looking at the bottom, trying to stay in what little bit of a channel there is. Here we go. You can see that's shallow. So why did you buy another Hobie? Right here you see why. Whether it's a 360 or 180, a Mirage Drive can effortlessly get you through anything that'll pretty much float the boat. Even though I may be pushing that to an extreme test right now, because we're getting really shallow. I maybe should have went closer to that point over there. Huh. Something living. Ooh. Shit. I may be paddling. So, kind of got really skinny there. So rather than pull the drive, I did misjudge this. You can hear the running ground. Get this camera down. So even if where I'm trying to transition gets so shallow that I can't do a flutter kick, I still don't have to go to a lot of work, pull a drive, and just flip the fin. Back to flutter kicking. Oh, so there was something, probably a crustacean with moss on it that's migrating through there. A bunch of them actually. So, we've made our passage across the shallow. Not that it's deep here. So once again, the fin touched bottom. Yeah, my flutter kicking. And I've got full reach of the fins. So I'm back in business. Now, what I wanted to do, if you see all the birds over there, was get over here and practice using the 360 drive to position the boat to drift a bank. With the water being this shallow, I may not be able to do that. I'll have to go to Plan B to demonstrate that. Plan B is we'll take it in the creek. There it goes. Push the button down. Now, the drive is steerable. Okay. There we go. I've got the handle to the left. Fins are going left. See what happens if I put the rudder the other way. The rudder doesn't seem to do much. Right. So this is pretty much 360 drive basics. Let's go over here straight and see if we can use that to follow this bank. Now, what if I brought the fins all the way around to like here? huh? Okay. Wind's pushing me into the bank. So let's see if I can turn the pins all the way around like this and just do a little back pedal. I need the rudder that way. Maybe I'll move that way. Okay. Like this. There we go. Just find an angle that's going to control the helm of the boat and its position. And then if I cast it against that bank, just enough of a kick to deal with the wind. So bear with me. This is my first attempt to try to do this. So one of my early objectives is going to be to see how to angle the fin, what kind of a stroke I want to make, and it's usually going to be a very finesseful one, I believe. That seems to be what's working best for me here. So I put myself to where I'm a constant distance from the shore I'm next to. Probably should have the other camera on for this. See, the 360 drive has the most effect on my helm. So I'm looking over my shoulder, trying to navigate down that line and practice it to where I can get good enough that I can cast up in front of the kayak, work it back to me, or turn the boat around. And now I'm controlling the angle of my boat with the 360 drive, casting up, retrieving back to me along this bank. Now I can do this in the Outback, but I don't have this much control with the MD-180 drive. I don't have this much control over the position of the vessel itself. I can put myself in this position and run this drift, but by putting it in the back, I can control which way the bow points. So I just pulled my bow out a little. And right now I have the wind at my back, so I'm using the fins in the reverse direction, going a little right or left of center to control the boat's position and to control the angle of the bow. If I go here, let's do this. I don't want to go forward, so I want to come in more next to the bank. Yeah, there went my camera. So, that's all of the footage I'm going to get out of this camera. The battery has given up the ghost. Now I'm using it like a 360 drive. I've got to find out how to calibrate that indicator so that when the fins are straight ahead, the arrow on the indicator is also straight ahead. This one was a little out of alignment when I first got it. So let's go over here and see if we can simulate fishing this thing. Bring myself in a little closer. Those guys are still on it. Okay, so we're about the angle we want. Let's get our bow set up. There's a little backwards kick. Basically, it's opposites. If I want the bow to go right, I need the back pedal to the right. There we go. So this is my first time doing it, so obviously practice makes perfect. But I can see that the 360 drive gives me, in this situation, some really good maneuverability and the ability to just kind of follow a bank and keep your boat at a relative distance, constant distance, and keep your boat headed. And it's a combination of rudder adjustments and drive adjustments that accomplishes that. And it's more a matter of just smooth finesse strokes with the fins than it is a matter of doing big, powerful strokes. Okay, I'm stuck here, and I want to turn around, and I got more room, so I'm going to take my drive, put it around like this, and pedal backwards away from the bank, get the stern to kick out in the middle, then move the drive forward, move the rudder, and I just did a reverse turn coming out of a tight spot. Since I'm new at this, obviously, if you're looking and said, dude, that wasn't that tight of a spot. Right now I'm practicing for when I get into places that are deeper in these creeks where it is tight. If I realize that I need to turn the boat around on a dime, I'll develop the technique. So I'm going to pedal back to the marina using the standard 360 normal position like any other 360 drive, and holding the drive straight with the handle. So as a recap, in the beginning, the first part, we transitioned across the ICW with the drive locked in forward and pedaled basically like an MD 180 drive to get where we're going. Now we're going to return with the drive in the 360 mode, but the arrow aimed at the forward position, and confirming the alignment of the arrow by just with a straight rudder, what fin angle gets the boat to go straight, and then keeping them there, which is what we're doing right now. And I'm steering with the rudder. No different than I would on my Outback. I sit up higher, the boat sits up higher, so when I'm doing these little S-turns just goofing around here, you notice the kayak leans a little more than the Outback did in any of the videos that we've done this in the Outback. In the near future, we're going to spend a lot of time getting to know this boat. We'll put a sail on it and sail it, see how it sails. I was going to wait and complete rigging out the Outback. As I thought about it, this is the boat that's going to be the tricked out heavier lifter of the two. It's rated at 500 pounds capacity, where the Outback's only 425, I believe. Check Hobie's figures to back me up on that. I think I'm going to start de-rigging some of the Outback and rigging it into this one after I've done a few of the initial little get-to-know-its of the boat. I've got to put a transducer on here. I've got an active imaging 3-in-1. We'll do a video on how to install a transducer, a Lowrance transducer, on a Guardian mount. It's no different than how it worked on the Outback. But I think I'm going to take the parts for the dual bus system and install them into this kayak, and basically draw on what I learned from the experience of rigging the Outback to maybe come up with a better rigging plan for the Pro Angler 12. And so you stay tuned. We're going to see more of this boat. We're going to see a new battery box and a new battery configuration. We have an NK180 motor. The plan was to put it on the Outback first and compare the NK180 to the Motor Guide XI3. But I'm leaning more towards putting the NK180 on this kayak. It'll become the point A to point B, get you to and from where you want to fish on the NK180 motor, and then the 360 drive will do the maneuvering in the fishing area and holding a position like the anchor mode on the Motor Guide XI3. But I also have a bow mount plate from One Objective. We'll do a video on how we install it on this boat. So we'll end up basically with the ability to put both a Motor Guide and a NK180 on either kayak, or one on one and one on the other. So that's it for the Maiden Voyage initial sea trial of the Pro Angler 12 360 XR. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, hit the like button, and we'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button as well, and you'll benefit by getting notifications when we come out with new videos. So thanks again for watching.